But Peckham is changing, but for the better, in my opinion, because when I went to school around there, it wasn't, it wasn't the coolest or safest to walk down the road. But the people of Peckham need to take advantage of the forward of this gentrification train. Like, don't watch it sail by. Jump on the train, force your way through the barriers. Like, educate yourself on local policy. What's happening? Who's your local councillor? I bet you ask lots of the Peckham residents who your local councillors are. They probably don't know.
Socks and sliders everywhere and every day. Full English breakfast at a cafe, not a cafe. No, no, baby, we don't let strangers come our way. But you should come to my hood, my hood, my hood.
So I was born in Nigeria. I was born in Lagos. Came here when I was 5, 6 years old. And it was very much like, you just don't know what's going on. Do you know what I mean? You just come to this nice place, and my father particularly was always like, it's going to be a better way of life. We're going to give you guys something, an opportunity that we just didn't have. And we grew up in New Cross Gate, and lovely 3-bedroom split level masonette in the Telegraph Hill conservation area. But it was still challenging.
What was challenging about Brooklyn?
It wasn't necessarily challenging about Brooklyn, it was challenging about going to school, my first school in London. As a Nigerian-born black kid, everyone was West Indian or white. Like, being African back then just wasn't cool. In reality, it just wasn't. When you think about in the late 80s, the only images the Western world saw of Africa was Live Aid, was, let's donate to this kid with flies around his eyes. So it wasn't easy at all. Anyway, cut a long story short, I went to secondary school in Peckham, St. Thomas Apostle. And Peckham back then was a very challenging area. And I really wasn't down with whatever was going on around me with my fellow peers. All I knew is that I just wanted to be, I wanted to be happy, have a good time. Like, I don't want to sound like I was different, because obviously we've all got our own ambitions, but I just knew that I wanted more. Yeah. I knew I wanted more, but I also knew I wanted to give something back. I knew that there was, something in me that wanted to have an impact on those in the immediate area. How that formed, I don't know. I mean, how that was going to come about, I just didn't know, but I knew there was something. Then I went to university outside of London, and
where did you go?
I went to Coventry and then Loughborough. And the best thing I would say about that was, it was like my social development, just interacting with people of different cultures and different races and different backgrounds and beliefs. It was, I thought that took me personally to another level. But so finished university, and I couldn't get a job. And
What did you want to do?
I don't know, but I didn't want to work in the Gap. I was working the Gap part-time during university. I continued working at the Gap, and then I started working at Armani. And again, but all these jobs I had was just bettering my skills of communication, understanding the city that we live in, which is London. And one thing I did love more than anything else was just people, just meeting people, talking to people. I used to get in trouble so much for just talking to one customer for like longer than I should. And then I love partying. I love going out, I love drinking, I love talking to girls, I love meeting guys, like just loved it all, And I started doing a lot of stuff in the West End. And it got to a point, there was a turning point where I thought, how can I make this into a career? So I worked with my brother and a business partner, a friend of ours at the time. Took over clubs like Mira, Mayfair Club, Maya, and we just did nights, and we absolutely, that sound like a bonehead, like we smashed it. Like, it was just great. We had people from everywhere, guys, girls, black, white, like it was an experience. But one thing we wanted to do was make sure that our culture, when I say our culture, I don't mean like being Nigerian or African, like there's a certain culture, and I can't really define it, but it's like, musically, we love hip hop, we love Afro beats. There's a certain way we dress, and youth culture is massive at the moment. Well, now it is. But back then we were like, no, we're going to push this forward, and the parties we're going to do is going to represent that. But West End wasn't really having it. West End was like, no, we need our parties to be bougie. It needs to be nice. It needs to be white. And I said, at that point, I need to switch tack. I need to, instead of being the promoter, I need to create a brand, bring everything in-house that encompasses everyone and everything that I love. But that's also safe. So I got a job, I was offered a job working for a company called the Colombo Group. And they asked me to take over a pub in Kilburn called the Westbury at the time.
Yeah.
And I closed it down. And I created a club called Love and Liquor. No knowledge of North West London whatsoever. And we opened up September 2012. And it was tricking along quite nicely. Then in January 2013, I befriended Idris Elba. And Idris Elba did this residency for me, 7-week residency, which was incredible, changed the club completely. Every week, Friday, Saturday, club was packed. And I thought, do you know what? Like, this is sick. This is actually what I want to do, but I'm not the owner. You know, I'm still answering to someone, which, don't get me wrong, it was a great platform for my schooling, like learning this industry, operational, promotion, social media marketing, all that. 2015, I said, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna dive in. I'm gonna try and find a pub. And an estate agent came to me and said, you know what, there's a couple of venues that are available. So when they said Peckham, I was like, what? Really? And he told me what pub it was. I was like, yo, I used to go past this pub every day. Like, this is frontline Peckham. But no, I just knew that I wanted it to be an inviting place. You know, I wanted it to be like home from home for everyone. So I created, you know, more seating areas. I lightened the ceiling up, lightened the walls a little bit. Created, particularly the fireplace, like I wanted that to be like a real feature, like comfortable sofa, people can chill, play games, board games. So I knew exactly what I needed to do, and I did it, and it took me 12 weeks to turn it around. I think it just worked. Like my expertise is selling alcohol, putting bums on seats. I don't know how to run a kitchen, hands up, you know. And I wanted to bring in someone who was ready to go. And don't get me wrong, I looked at others, and people just weren't coming correct. You know, and out of all the people I spoke to and sat down with, White Men Can't Jerk really rep. They came forward, and if I am going to build a business, which is ultimately what this is, and I don't want to be here for 1 month, 1 year, I want to be here for 20 years. I have to do that with people that know what they're doing. I think the older I've got, I'm just like, I just want people to just be happy and succeed in whatever walk of life that is. And if don't put someone down or make life difficult because you didn't have the gusto, the drive or ambition to go and do that yourself. Where gentrification is bad is when it forces out people that have lived and worked in the area and they no longer can afford to be in Peckham or any area for that matter. That's when gentrification is bad.
Is that happening?
Yeah, completely is happening. And I'm not really clued up on my politics as such, so I don't really want to comment too much and say something very silly, but I'm kind of like, I was born in Nigeria, you know, I wasn't born in this country. My parents came here with next to nothing, so I can only speak from my position that I've got lucky, but I believe lucky is when preparation meets opportunity. And I think when people say about gentrification, I don't personally see it as a bad thing, but that's only because it hasn't affected me, and I don't want to sound selfish in saying that. If I'm going to get involved in the community, I need to know who are the people making decisions, who are the people influencing decisions, and that's all I've tried to do. So I'm not going to watch, you know, a place that I grew up in just sell by, where, you know, all these middle class characters come in and take over our, you know, where I sold my, you know, my roots are. I'm going to say, no, I'm joining you. Like, whatever you're doing, I'm doing. I'm going to do it better as well. I live in Brixton, and I've seen it, and it's not cool what's happening to Brixton, and I just don't want it to happen to Peckham. As in, I want more people from Peckham.
A lot of people say this about Brixton. I'm in North London.
Brixton's gone. Like, it's not even to say, like, I can go to a pub in Brixton and there'll be one black person in the pub. And it's not to say, oh, it's about black people.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it should be an open door policy. Like, my pub door is always open. Because what I'm saying is, everyone is welcome.